tell you a few facts about it. In our traditional tribes way of life in Baduy, there are, thinking about how they, if they chop one tree, they need to grow 3 trees. Yeah. It become a way of life. This is what we call local wisdom. And I want to I want to know if we can explore this local wisdom, maybe we can accelerate sustainability implementation in Indonesia. Because Indonesia needs to implement this sustainable issue with our Indonesian way, not Norwegian way. Yeah, because we have this potential. Another one is I want to explore that sustainability issue is also recognized in our spiritual side. I'm a Muslim, and in my religion we have faith that even when we are going to war, we are prohibited to menginjak itu apa ya? To step on the grass. We are prohibited to cut down the trees. So this is also a big potential in Indonesia, local wisdom and spiritual side. So if we can explore it and collaborate it with your technology and historical proof, I think we can accelerate more. I think that's all. Thanks for your attention.
I think the first point about traditional wisdom is extremely important. And this is actually something that we've seen also in other parts of the world. If you look at the Amazon in Brazil, wherever there is more rights and respect for the local Indian tribes' rights and traditional way of life, you also have better protection of the environment. As you said, a lot of Adat groups in Indonesia have similar local wisdom about replanting, about how you deal with the nature, under what circumstances you can cut. You even have, in Kalimantan, you have the wisdom around the tree of life. And this is a picture that you have in many religions, actually, that life is like a tree where everything is connected. I think it's very important. Indonesia has actually now recognized the rights of traditional peoples, yeah, through Mahkamah Constitutional Court. So there is now this recognition. It needs to be followed up by proper policies. We also work a lot with civil society groups, like Aman, for example. We collaborate with them on many of these issues. So I think it's an extremely important and valid point, and I think this needs also by academics to be studied more, and the stories about local knowledge need to be told to the people. Then about religious leaders, yes, I agree very much. When many of you will know who Din Shamsuddin is, when he was head of Muhammadiyah, we talked a lot about these things. Also with NU, I have been in touch about these ideas. And it is very true, as you say, that religious scholars do know about how religion prescribes. It's not optional. Eh? It prescribes respect for nature. It prescribes that you have knowledge before you interfere with nature. Again, I think this is something that needs to be explored more, collaboration between religious leaders, universities, media, public talks, also inviting religious leaders to maybe places outside the mosques to talk about these things. very important. So I think my basic answer is yes, I agree with you.
So I'm more interested in how did you as a nations work with one another to support each other in terms of educations, especially in helping all elements of peoples to be aware on the importance of the sustainability of the nature. For example, could you please share with us a little bit on how do you or the country or the educations there integrate the issues of sustainability into the early educations, primary educations, secondary, and up to the higher ed? Thank you very much. And how long did it take for you to, for the people there to be aware on, in terms of the socializations?
I think on this, the awareness in the education system is linked to the general awareness in society. I think it varies when it started in different parts of the country in Norway also. But if you go back only to the 1970s, when I grew up, the level of environmental awareness was very low. You had people who thought it was okay to throw garbage in the ocean because then it disappears. Yeah? That was the idea. At my summer house, every summer, we used to take all the old stuff and trees and whatever that was not needed anymore. Somewhere on our land, we would make a big pile, we would set fire to it. They thought it was okay. That was the way you got rid of stuff you didn't need anymore. If you do that today in Norway, you're going to have a fire truck, you're going to have the police, you're going to have the neighbors, and you're never ever going to try that trick again. You cannot burn stuff on your land. So there you see a change in a matter of 40 years. I think in Norwegian schools, when I grew up, it was a lot about cleanliness, garbage, pollution. I mean, we didn't talk about climate in that sense. I think it also has to do with the standing of the middle class in general and an education level. Where Indonesia is now, the number of university graduates you have coming out, the level of awareness in the cities about pollution, what it's doing to our children, is going up. Yeah? The teachers are more aware. They integrate more in their teaching the importance of pollution, of climate. Another issue, I think, which has helped in Norway is that there has always been a lot of attention in Norwegian schools on United Nations. So this being an issue in United Nations, that also filters through into our school system. But I think it boils down to, at the end of the day, it's about the awareness of the teacher. Yeah? Because if the teachers integrate this in their ordinary teaching, this is what they talk about. The children also learn, they take it back to their parents. We are supporting some initiatives in Indonesia called Green School. So there is an alliance of schools that want to integrate green thinking into their curriculum. So we've been supporting that with very good results, especially in Kalimantan. And now we're also looking at something called the Green School in Bali, which you might have heard of, to use that as a center of excellence for green schooling in Indonesia.
I will move to question which pass through slide. The first question is from Okwan Shah. I think Okwan is here also. Yeah, okay. So Mr. Okwan asks about the problem with human resource, I think. So we already developed some renewable energy, but we still have problem with maybe attitude of people. So he would like to know encounter this problem with the attitude of people.
Then we started to develop smaller scale hydropower. But where do you sell your electricity if you have more than you use? So we needed to develop regulations for how the power producers can buy that capacity. I think one of the places where they've done this best is actually in California, in America. There the law is very clear. It says if you sell energy, you also have to buy energy. So that means, for example, if I have a solar panel on my house and I'm not home during the day, my meter goes backwards. Yeah? I make money during the day when I'm not there. And the company I buy power from, they also have to buy power from me. So I think this is about it's about regulation. That takes time, but I know that Indonesia is looking a lot at how to integrate smaller power providers. I think also in the future, especially in rural Indonesia, a lot of power systems will be off-grid. Just like, a lot of people have never had a fixed-line telephone. Many young people have never used a fixed-line telephone. In the same way, I think a lot of people will jump the grid. So you'll find local solutions for the villages. I don't know if that answers the questions, but that's the best I can do on that one.
Law enforcement is also very important because I think without law enforcement, then people tend to ignore the society and also environment. Another question is from Nur Rahmat Gilang Kencana. It is about the sustainable product which compatible for Indonesia. You mentioned already in your talk about the marine and also water resource, but maybe you want to give more comment about our potential.
This is no longer a choice, it's a necessity. When you look at some of the big consumer companies in the world, like Nestlé or Unilever or others, they're moving towards only sustainable products, not as sort of a special brand. We have some green products. No, it's going to be across the board. Why is that happening? Well, there are two basic reasons, I think. One is pressure from the consumers, especially in the West. That is going to come in Indonesia as well. As your population gets richer, better educated, also people in Indonesia are not going to want to eat or consume products that are made in an irresponsible way. The other thing is that the consumer giants, they have been around for 100 years. Yeah? Their investment horizon is 20, 30 years. They have analyzed this and they see if we don't contribute to a greener future, it will hurt our bottom line, it will hurt our investors. We need to change the way we produce. The other is simply about responsibility. Yeah? I think 20, 30 years ago, even in Norway, there was not much awareness about how things were produced. If there was child labor in another country, there was child labor in another country. It was not our problem, kind of. Now, for a Norwegian company, even if it's a sub-supplier that uses child labor, it's a scandal. I also think most of us, we will not buy products if we know that children who have been exploited have made this. The next step is very natural. It will be very unnatural for us in a couple of years to pick up a cup of coffee if we know that the guys who made this coffee, they don't care if they cut down the rainforest. We won't want to buy that coffee. So I think the companies who are not thinking about this yet, they are hurting themselves.
So I would like to move to Riverdan question, which asking about the electric model car and also the pricing of petrol and stuff. So he would like to know how Norwegian deal with this economic change right now.
We don't produce any cars ourselves, actually. So we don't have car production in Norway. But what we've done is that we've changed the regulations. So the taxes on ordinary cars, you can take the factory price and you can double it. That's what the consumer will have to pay because of the taxes. If you buy an electric car, you take it out of the factory and you add maybe 20%. So there's less tax on electric or zero emission cars. Then there are taxes on emissions levels, meaning also that hybrid cars are much cheaper in Norway than ordinary cars. Then we already have high taxes on petrol. You don't have to pay toll road if you drive an electric car. You can park for free. So for somebody who lives in a big city, already it would be strange not to consider buying an electric car. A lot of people who don't care about the environment also drive electric cars in Norway, simply because of the incentives.
Which is a little bit different, is from Sudibyo Wicaksono. He asks about what kind of leader which is suitable for Indonesia.
This is a very dangerous question to ask any foreigner, and especially as an ambassador. It's not the kind of question I should answer. But what I can say is that, I would like to congratulate Indonesia on its democracy. And I think the process around your last elections was impressive. And the fact that somebody who comes from outside the elite could win an election and become president, it testifies to the strength of democracy in Indonesia. And I think you have a very good leader in Indonesia today. Next time you have elections, you will have to make up your mind if who will be the best candidate. But I've known your current leader since he was mayor in Solo. I visited him when he was mayor in Solo. I also knew him when he was governor in Jakarta. We actually used to go bicycling together. So he's also someone who cares about clean transport. So I have a lot of respect and admiration for your current leadership.
Okay. Maybe you have a suggestion for our student, because our student will be our future leader. In next 10 or 20 years, they will make decision for Indonesia. So according to your prediction, in next 20 years of Indonesia, what kind of suggestion you would like to give to our student?
I'm very optimistic about Indonesia's future. And I think that is because I do visit universities a lot. And I see that Indonesian students are very active, they're curious, they want to learn. I think that is the most important thing, to remain curious, that you want to learn, that you follow your interests. I would say don't try to be too strategic in choosing your career. Try to look at, okay, what is it that I'm interested in? Where can I do that? Are there good people I can work with in this company or in this office? To work with good people is very important, yeah? Whether you are an employee or if you're a boss. That's what makes it enjoyable. Your paycheck, you get it only once a month, yeah? But you have to face the people you work with, your clients, your customers, whatever, every day. So I think to like what you do is the first advice I would give.
Well, I've heard that in Norway, the waste was export to Sweden. Is it correct?
Sorry, can you repeat?
The waste in Norway was export waste. Waste, yes. Garbage. Export to Sweden in order to change to the electricity. So in our country, we have the same problem. It's all about the waste, the garbage. Can we change it into electricity? Therefore, we have find the solution, the electricity and also the waste. Thank you very much.
In Oslo, one of the biggest waste plants, in Indonesia, you need cooling, so you need air conditioning. In Norway, we need heating. So we have a big plant that turns waste into heating systems for a big part of the city. You can also produce biogas, which can of course be used to produce electricity directly. Some of our plants that take take garbage from other places in the world. At one point, it was reported in BBC as if we were buying garbage. No, we're not. If we have been taking garbage from Britain and other places, but they have to pay for us to process it. In terms of Norway and Sweden, there are lots of things that are very integrated. But what you might be talking about, I'm not sure, maybe Christopher knows. I know that some paper for research circulation goes from Norway to Sweden. Do you know anything about this, Christopher?
You could basically say that we have a joint market. The ambassador was talking about the cycles that we need, and that products should not become waste and just be garbage, but they should be used again. And a lot of the waste contains material that are valuable. So different companies live from recycling waste, and this is how the market makes it profitable to sometimes export waste. So there are companies in Sweden that are taking over Norwegian waste, and sometimes it could go the other way. So you're right, absolutely right. This is a market now.
Christopher has worked for the environmental